Welcome, tarot card readers. April here on Tarot and Witchery with another installment of my Scary Tarot Card series. I have 8 cards in this series, 8 videos. Check them all out. These cards are cards that I'm calling scary, but really they're just thematic elements in them that are more challenging. A lot of times these cards sort of trip us up when they come in a reading. Maybe you're new to tarot. Even if you've been reading for a while, I'm interested in your feedback on what I have to say about these. These are just ideas for dealing with these cards when they come up in a reading. I'm going to give you lots of examples of these cards and working with them, as well as questions that you can ask yourself when these cards come up. So you may want to get a piece of paper and a pen to write down anything that interests you. In the meantime, let's get to it. You may have guessed what the scary tarot card is from the thumbnail. Today we're talking about the 8 of Swords. Yay! Doesn't that look fun? No, it doesn't. You know, it's so interesting because I'm going to be doing the 8, 9, and the 10, and they all have just degrees of difference. And it's always important to remember, I think, in my humble opinion, that the suit energies build. And so here at the 8, we see this young woman. Get out my little wand here. You see this young woman. She's all tied up. She's got a blindfold on. She's surrounded by swords. It's muddy and kind of icky. But she's got a way out of there. And honestly, she doesn't look like, maybe she's tightly tied up. I don't know how tightly tied up she is, but it's feeling tight. It's feeling uncomfortable. When this card comes up, I know that I'm thinking a lot about an issue and I have a lot of different options. You can see all the different options, all the different thoughts. And these thoughts are not only your own options, but they are the thoughts of other people contributing to what's going on. This is just the typical Rider-Waite, and this one is my original tarot in the brown version, which I love. And then right here we have the New Vision Tarot, which just shows us the back side. Not much difference here. What I do find interesting is that in looking out this way, you see that these are buzzards, so vultures. And vultures kind of forebode something's dead and they want to eat it, right? So, you know, when this card comes up, you're frozen. You're paralyzed by all of the different options that you have, and it just is not feeling good. It's feeling really like you just don't know what to do. So we've got the 8 of Swords in the Cosmic Visions Tarot, and you see here she's looking in a mirror, but her eyes are covered. And you can see that right here. I hope you can see her eyes are covered, and it's like all these thoughts are swirling around the image of herself, and yet it's essentially her eyes are closed. Even though she's looking at herself, she can't see into the windows of her soul. And again, it has to do with all the other thoughts coming in from the outside. I love this one in the For Hexa Tarot. Really, really cool. This one, she's just all wound up in these webs. So here you see, again, she's blindfolded. She can't see. And so a lot of this is internal. You know, we don't have a lot of, although we have a lot of external influences going on, what we're experiencing is totally inside of ourselves. And I think that's an important thing to remember when this comes up, that have you ever been in a group of people and if you have anxiety, then you know this one, you're freaking out and you're thinking all these different thoughts, but nobody can hear those thoughts. They might see your body language. They might sense your emotional body if they're empathic. But for the most part, you are inside this world where you're bound up and having all of these different thoughts, and yet the outside world is not privy to that. If you've ever thought that you might want to study the tarot with me, then I want to encourage you to sign up for my newsletter down below, because when I drop a course, you'll hear about it. Here in the Everyday Witch Tarot, you see her broom is just outside the circle, and her hat, her cat is in there kind of tugging at her like, hey, hey. And, you know, honestly, she could lift her hands up and remove that blindfold. She could remove what's blinding. So a good question for you when this card comes up, is there something that's blinding me at this time? Have I placed blinders on? Do those blinders come from ideas about myself or ideas from others? Do I have core beliefs about myself or this situation that are keeping me from having a fresh perspective on it? I love this one from the, sorry, not the Abyss Tarot, from the Fifth Spirit Tarot. Love this one. Now, this is a really pippish deck, but this is one place where the pips really shine here. You know, here's all the different swords. There's these ribbons that are all tied up along them, kind of keeping them together, and yet look, there's that ability to cut that at any time. It really is this moment in time when our mind has this much going on that we realize, hey, I got to step up here because I'm feeling stuck. I'm feeling trapped. And again, sort of another play on that that last one I showed you. This is Chris Ann's Lightseers Tarot. And here she is. She's trying to, again, take a good look at herself. And what does she see? She sees herself disempowered. She sees herself unable to see. She sees her hands bound. She's incapable of doing anything. But again, out here in the real world, that's not really true. So what are the stories that you're telling yourself that are disempowering you in this situation? Such a great thought for the moment. Just had to throw it in here because I do love this card. Triunfia de la Luna. I think this is the Aquadoxical edition that I got. I have this in 3 colors, you guys. Don't judge me. But you see here, what I love that shows here is that he's kind of in this shroud. And pieces of the shroud are tied to the swords. But then the swords are also anchoring his clothes in there. And so again, you know, the garment that we're wearing right now, what is it we're using to cover ourselves with that is tethered to these negative ideas? Is there an idea that you're really, really set on wearing or being that just doesn't suit who you are and where you need to go at this time? You know, because taking off that garment, taking off that idea, allowing yourself to have brand new thoughts is going to be key in extricating yourself from this situation. And then we have over here, last but certainly not least, the Tarot of Transformation. The purpose of this deck, and again, there's not a ton of these decks left, but I do have a link down below to this deck. Super cool deck. Get it while you can. And actually, I talk about this in lots of different videos. But anyway, 8 of Swords. This deck talks about what we're being offered, like how when we go through this lesson, how we are transformed by it, what we receive from it. And you see here, equanimity. Equanimity is what you receive when you choose to look at this card, move through the limiting ideas that you're placing upon yourself. You will find your equanimity. You will find your own personal equilibrium, not just within yourself, but with the world, because these are often thoughts from other people, past experiences. A lot of times we're trying to make future decisions based on past experience, and it's tying us up. So we need to equalize that. We need to somehow come in and right the scales, so to speak, in order to find some equanimity. So, you know, I hope you're liking this series. If you are, please give it a thumbs up down below and let me know what your favorite 8 of Swords card is and some of the questions that you ask yourself, or if you have a story of how you came to understand this card better by getting it at some time in your life. Until we meet again, may you have the courage to extricate yourself from old ways of thinking and being so that you can allow yourself to have the opportunity that this moment is giving you.